Well, the reviews have already started with England dropping out of the Champions Trophy once again before the playoff stages. And there's a lot of talk about Jos Butler and the leadership side of things, and that will continue. And ultimately, I don't want to go into too much depth on that topic. Brendan McCullum's obviously come in, he's only had the 2 tours, so that leadership group is quite new and there needs time to evolve. But what I do want to delve into is around selection and around England has this concept of they want to play the game at high pace, and the pace of play is something that they want to dictate. And I'll go into that detail in a moment. But the problem with wanting to dictate the pace of play all the time is that you've got an opposition, conditions change, therefore you actually need to be able to ride the waves of the pace of play. And the way you do that is by having a variety of players. So if I'm thinking from a batting point of view, we all know that England's style is to go out really aggressively, take the game on, basically try and get 400 or close to it. And therefore, you can't do that with all the same types of players because in different conditions and against different opposition, you need a variety. And I think of someone like Joe Root, who they've added to that squad. Now, he's brought a different pace of play because he basically is very hard to bowl to in terms of dots. He plays orthodox shots, he hits gaps, he can still score boundaries and score at a rate of a run a ball, but he does it differently. You compare that with a Phil Salt, who just is basically all on assault from ball 1. He takes the game on. If he's still batting at the end of the power play, England are flying. You compare that, with the Jamie Smith coming in, they talked about wanting that 3-prong attack at the top of the innings to really take the game on. And that's fine if conditions are brilliant. And that's fine if the opposition give you opportunities to score. You can end up being 70, 80, 90 at the end of the power play and you're flying. But if conditions don't suit that or you get 1 or 2 nicked out early, then you have to have the flexibility to adjust. Now, let me just think. Jacob Bethell was, so if we're thinking about selection, okay, Jacob Bethell was their number 6. He was their left-arm spinner. He provided that flexibility. Joe Root was at 3, which seemed to work quite nicely in terms of, I guess, the conduit between your 2 openers and then the rest of that middle order who are also power players. But when they made that shift, when Bethell was knocked out, it certainly wasn't a straight swap. It wasn't a like for like. So when the injury happened to Jacob Bethell, that's to me where things started to unravel. So they brought in Tom Banton, which was clearly not a straight swap. They moved Jamie Smith up to number 3, which changed the whole ability to have different points of attack. From a batting point of view, as I alluded to, you need to have different types of players. Jamie Smith is just another one of the same of those top 2. Takes the game on. To be fair, he averages less than 20 in ODI cricket, and even List A cricket, he's still pretty much finding his feet. Brilliant test player, but we know ODI cricket requires a different pace of play. So it wasn't a straight swap. So Tom Banton came in. They had the option at that time to go with someone like a Sam Curran, who could also bat at, say, 6 and bring a left-arm angle. So it would bring a different point of attack from a bowling point of view. Or they could stick with someone like a Liam Dawson, who's, he's not as good a batsman as Jacob Bethell, but it keeps the same type of shape. So I guess at that stage, Jos Butler, Brendan McCullum have to make a decision. And they've gone down the, hey, as I said, we'll move Jamie Smith to the top, we'll slide our batting, and we're going to basically have a limited bowling attack. We're going to rely a bit more on Joe Root, and Livingston are going to have to do more with the ball. So maybe the batting has changed because of that point of attack, but it's probably affected the bowling more. Because then the bowling attack became very much same. And Archer is outstanding, Wood's outstanding, Jamie Overton, fine bowler as well. But they're all very similar. I know Archer brings the ball in a little bit with the new ball, Wood takes it away. They're aggressive, Archer took 3 wickets in the power play the other day when he was at his best. Wood was bowling 150 and swinging it away. So there's no issue during the power play phase. Then Jamie Overton came in, absolutely great at smashing a length at 140 k's an hour. But as soon as the batsman came down the wicket, gave himself room, hit the ball over mid-off, he didn't know what to do. So that in terms of the defensive options, they became a little bit scattergun. Therefore, those 3 really aggressive frontline seamers, and the same thing happened in India, became a little bit rattled in terms of what do I do. And that hard length disappeared. There was a whole heap of different variations, all from the same angle, right arm over, all from similar pace in terms of 140 to 145, and batsmen can start to line them up. The variations that the batters became ahead of the game. Ibrahim basically started to dictate the game. Jos Butler didn't have the option of going to a left arm seamer who could change the angle, go around, bowl cutters, bowl over the wicket, bowl into the legs to try and have some more defensive options. So the bowling attack from a seam bowling position became a little bit same. And because you didn't have the left arm spin option of Bethel, the attack became a little bit limited. I know after the injury to a seamer happened, they brought in Rehan Ahmed, but that was pretty much towards the back end of the tournament, and by that stage, unfortunately, England were already knocked out. Therefore, England need to be able to have more options to attack the game in-game. They need to be able to adapt in-game. So rather than go in with that high-octane approach of we're going to blow sides away, we've got airspeed with the ball, we've got batsmen who bat right down to 8 who can hit the ball out of the park, plenty of power, need to have different points of attack, need to have different players that play the game slightly differently. So if conditions change, whether it be the pace of the wicket, whether it be the opposition have got a whole heap of different wristies or mystery spinners or whatever, you've got enough players in your lineup that can adapt their game to what is required at that moment in time. And same with the ball. Jos Butler had limited options with the ball. He had Adil Rashid, and he would have loved to have had 15 overs of him because he bowls so well on any surface. He can change his pace up or down, great control. He had Livingston and Root who are both part-timers. And if you're bowling to right-handers, it's really difficult to contain. And didn't have the option of that, as I said, that left arm spin, especially in these conditions where they did hold. Ultimately, England have a very strong squad. They have a very strong squad of players that aren't here as well. So a lot of depth, but they have to start adjusting more to the nuances of the game. What does the game require from me at this time? And it's that game sense, it's that subtlety around the game in terms of being able to adjust, and also within selection, having a little bit more variety so the captain can call on different types of bowlers, different types of players that can change the pace up and down in a game. So ultimately, there does require some self-reflection. There does require some tough questions to be asked of each other. But ultimately, I don't think England are too far away.